again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this, the 12th day of November in the year 2023. Sure hope you're enjoying your Tuesdays, no matter where it is you are in the country. 53 degrees here in the Northeast. A little bit cool today. The first day where it really felt like it was autumn. So hope you're enjoying the weather, no matter where you are. Just a shame that there has been no rain when you consider what's been going on in places like West Milford, where Lisa and I know a bunch of people from West Milford, and the fires there have been just devastating, just absolutely horrible over the last couple of weeks. So we can only hope that things get better sooner than later. It's just been brutal, and it's only rained about a tenth of an inch since September. It's horrible. So if you're in that area, please be very careful, of course, and hopefully it'll get better very, very soon. But it's just the way it has been over the last couple of days. And I know, just heard recently that a forest ranger died when a tree came down on him when they were out there fighting the fire. So just a horrible, horrible situation. Now, as you do each and every Tuesday, you welcome me in so that I can bring you this week's news. And before we get to that, Larry Hanlon is here with us watching. Good afternoon, Larry. Hope you are doing well. And before we get into the actual news, I want to just bring this up. I was speaking with Councilman Zapata earlier today, and he tells me that along with Councilman Solano and Theodoropoulos, along with Erin Ferrier, who is also I believe the Kearney Insider is what she calls herself. They are doing a fundraiser at Cantina de Serra for a happy hour, and 20% of the money that's spent on November 21st between 6 and 8 p.m. will be donated to the Kearney Food Pantry Network. And while they're having the fundraiser, whether you're eating or drinking, anything of that nature, at Cantina de Serra, there will be they'll be collecting non-perishable food items as well. So if you're interested in going, this is first of all, it's a great restaurant, Cantina. They've done a phenomenal job over there. Wesley and the gang have done phenomenal work at Cantina. And this is a very good cause because, unfortunately, we've seen how terrible the lines are for the food pantry. There is a dire need, and with Thanksgiving coming up, this is a great way to donate to the food pantry, whether it's by bringing in a non-perishable item or whether it is by donating and showing up at the event itself. So that's coming up on the 21st of November. So hopefully you'll be able to get over there and support them. But again, it's Councilman George Zapata who is running this, along with Councilman Theodoropoulos and Solano, in conjunction with Cantina de Serra. So we'll check that out. I'll try to pass by there. Hope you will be able to as well. Now, this week's newspaper. If you look at the front page this week's paper, this was a very interesting election because a lot of things happened. So many things happened. And as you can see on the front of the paper, Fred Estes won the council race to become the councilman in Kearney's 3rd Ward. Ultimately, he's replacing Councilwoman Carol Jean Doyle, who became the mayor last year, 1 year ago, this week. And in essence, he's replacing Councilman who was never elected to the position, and that is Renato da Silva. But this whole electorate was one of the most off the wall we have seen in this town, at least in my memory, going back to the late 90s. Because while Fred was able to squeak by in the election, George Santos had a phenomenal showing. He had an absolutely brilliant showing. In fact, Sidney Ferreira was telling me last week that if you took away the early voting and you just vote, if there was only voting on election day, so to speak, that George would have won the election. That's how different the electorate was this year. And in the race for the White House, it was Donald Trump who won by almost 300 votes in the town of Kearney. And if you think about the trend that this town has been following over the last couple of years, 3 years ago in 2021, Jack Ciattarelli won a significant number of districts in Kearney when he was running for governor against Phil Murphy. Initially, I thought maybe that was an anti-Murphy vote because of what happened in this town with the Keegan landfill and things of that nature. But the truth of the matter is, I think this is a shift. There's a shift here. So if you look at 2024 and you realize that, wow, people did split the line in the third ward, including the third ward, it is a very interesting, it sets up for a very interesting scenario in 2025, because you got to remember, next year there are 4 council seats that are open, and then there's also the mayor's seat. So I don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be candidates probably from both parties, and there may be more than one candidate for each seat on the Democrat side, the way things have been going over the last couple of years. So if I'm a Democrat in the town of Kearney, no matter what the ward is, I'm worried. I think that they should be very, very worried. Being a Democrat in Kearney right now is not a given that you're going to win. It is just not going to happen anymore. And that was certainly evident in the presidential election, not just in Kearney, but throughout the country. People are tired of the same old, same old. They are tired of wokeism, whatever the reason is. I can't pinpoint it. I'm not even going to attempt to pinpoint it, how the election went the way it did, but it did. And if that's not a message to the people who are running, I don't know what is. You cannot just sit back now and expect that if you have a D next to your name, you're going to be the victor. Now, in this case, Fred won. But again, George had a phenomenal showing. He really did. And I hope he holds his head up, because his showing was as good as there was in the third ward in many, many years. In fact, I think going back in my memory, the last time there was a Republican in the third ward was Lillian Russell. No, Lillian was maybe she was in the fourth ward, but I'm trying to remember. But it might have been Donnie McMillan. That's how long we're going here, back to 1996. We're going a long time since there's been a Republican on the third ward council. But all in all, you really have to watch if you're a Democrat in this town, because the Republicans are resurging. They really are, and I think a lot of the credit for that goes to Sidney Ferreira. He took a risk. He was a Democrat. He was an independent. He found his place with the Republicans, and as the years have gone by, all of the elections have been getting closer and closer. So 2025 is going to be the closest we can get. Now, Sidney was going to come on the air with me. We had prepared for this, and then he tells me he's in the room right now, but unfortunately I didn't set up for him to come on the air with me today because I didn't hear from him, and I apologize in advance, Sidney. So let's do it tomorrow or another day when I can get all the graphics and things ready. But I definitely want to bring him on the air with us. He was going to come on today, but my fault, I didn't set it up, but we didn't connect this morning. So I'm sure he's going to have some interesting things to say about the way this election went. And I'm sure it is, and I hope we can set that up tomorrow at some point, because we didn't get it done today. That's my fault. Please forgive me for that. I apologize, Sidney. But when I didn't hear from you, I didn't get your graphics ready. So we'll see where okay, he says good. Tomorrow's fine. So look for Sidney and me to get together. We'll talk tomorrow a little bit more about the election and where he's going, because he is more than likely going to be a candidate for some office next year. Not sure which one yet. And I would imagine that we are going to see candidates in the GOP in all 4 wards and for the mayor's seat, and the same thing, of course, on the Democrats. We may see more than one candidate for each of those offices. Now, also on the front page this week, Judge Jablonski, Jeff Jablonski was the assignment judge for many years in Hudson County. He has taken on a new role and will now be sitting on the appellate division in state court, and there is a new Hudson County assignment judge, and Jeff has had a very laborious year. He's had probably one of the more difficult years he's had in a long time, And so we wish him well in his new position. No matter where he is sitting, he's going to do a phenomenal job. But he's one of ours. He's a Kearney guy, and for me, he's a prep guy too. So we wish him all the best as he takes on this new role. No matter where he goes, he is going to do it well. Last week, the Veteran of the Year was announced in Kearney and in Harrison, and there was a ceremony in Jersey City last week. And we have photos in the paper this week of the Kearney recipient of Veteran of the Year and Harrison's Veteran of the Year. So I hope you'll check that out. Mayor Melham in Belleville continues to do a lot of work on township parks. And a lot of things are happening now. A lot of times these projects are done in the in the summertime, but the work continues now, and there's so many different projects and different parks throughout the township of Belleville, and things are just happening. And you talk about if you're a parent and you have young kids in Belleville, it's a great location right now because so many new parks are popping up and they're renovating so many of the existing ones. So read that on page number 3 when you get a chance. And now this is important. Coming up this weekend, there will be a citizenship clinic with the We Are One Center, the town of Kearney, in conjunction with the Portuguese Club. They're doing it this week, and I believe it's on Saturday. So read the story this week. If you are not a citizen of the United States but wish to become one, or you don't know what the process is or how it works, please look at this story on page 4 or let people know who may need to know about this. The QR code that you see on the screen, which will also be in the print edition of the newspaper tomorrow when the papers go out and circulate, if you scan that QR code, you'll be able to register. Now, in order to attend this clinic, you have to register. So you can't just show up on the day of. So very important, if you know of somebody who is seeking citizenship and doesn't know what to do, or maybe thinking about coming here, make sure they check out this clinic that will take place Saturday in Kearney. And I know Lila DeCastro had a big part in this whole project, so check it out today. It's on page number 4 of this week's edition. This is a story that we got a couple of weeks ago. This guy runs a check cashing operation in the town of Kearney. I'd never heard of him. I can't find the location of where this is, but apparently this guy made over $300 million in false reports over the business. I mean, he's going to prison for a long time, this guy. He really is. But, you know, what I can find, one of the addresses I found was on Newark, Jersey City Turnpike. It didn't seem like there would have been a check cashing business there. Maybe there's an office there. I don't know. But he certainly did the feds dirty, stealing over $300 million in currency. So check it out when you get a chance. As I think most of you know by now, Adam Sandler is in town, and Dylan Sullivan took this picture with him and a buddy of his, and he sent it in. So there it is. This has been going on for a week. It will continue this week. Hope you haven't had too much of an inconvenience if you live near it, but there's been a lot of movement over the last couple of days over there. Maybe some of you have even met Adam Sandler or Ben Stiller or any of the other celebrities who were there. And then our friend Jack Satter, who is also known as Santa, wrote his annual Santa letter. Do you believe we're already there? We're already at Christmas time. We're that close. So please, especially if you have any kids, read it to your children or your grandchildren to let them hear Jack's words of wisdom. Santa is the best. This is the best Santa we have. So please check it out. Cardinal Tobin celebrated the Blue Mass last week, and a couple of Kearney's finest are seen here in the color guard. That's Sergeant Matt Lopez on the top and Officer John Dowie on the bottom photo. The Archdiocese had a video. I was able to get screenshots of it, and this was really pretty remarkable. That Mass, I've been to the Blue Mass a few times in my lifetime. I was there, last time I was there, believe it or not, was in 2001. It's always stirring and very moving. We're members of the law enforcement community who lost their line in the line of duty are remembered each and every year. So there was a good contingency from our vicinity at that mass, and we have a little bit of a recap of it in this week's edition of the Observer. And finally, this guy is from North Carolina. He has a license to open carry in North Carolina. Unfortunately, no good in Jersey. So he wound up getting locked up, and he is behind bars right now. He should have known that he shouldn't have had that gun on him, but he did, and somebody saw him walking in a bulge in his pocket, and that's how police found out about it in Lyndhurst. Don't forget, we have 2 pages of classifieds today, so if you have a job, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking to rent an apartment, there are plenty available this week, and Jason Bernstein has 3 sports stories, as he does each and every week, so be sure to check out the sports section as well. So, I haven't had a chance to greet everybody. Eileen is here, Larry Hanlon, Sydney, Jesus, good to see you too. Sorry I didn't see you. Carol Manley is here. My birthday sister, I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier too. But Sydney and I will be on the air tomorrow around the same time, hopefully. We'll recap the election a little bit more in depth than I did. And of course, he's probably going to be running next year, so it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Observer Live. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me. We will be back tomorrow with Sid. And, of course, if anybody else wants to join us to talk about the election, you can do. So from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com, it's Kevin Canessa signing off for now. We hope to see you back here again very, very soon, and we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, yes, and before I go, today is Melanie Ryan's birthday and Kimmy Pizzola's birthday. So happy birthday to 2 of my favorite people in the world, Melanie Ryan and Kimmy Pizzola. Love them both. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you, Carol.